Good afternoon. If you're watching and you're live in an if you're in an evacuation zone and you're watching this, evacuate. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. Don't take a chance. Time is running out. There are no excuses not to life. This hurricane is strengthening. It is located about 125 beach with winds of 140 miles per hour, and it's strengthening. Think about that. 140 miles an hour strengthening. On the forecast, move very close to the east coast of Florida Peninsula tonight through Friday night. There are hurricane warnings and watches along the entire east coast of our state. Tropical storm watches are, there's no question this is serious. Only a small deviation in the forecast back to the left or to the west could bring the core of a major hurricane onshore within the hurricane warning area, while a small deviation to the right could keep all force winds offshore. If you look at the track, it's been tending to go west, not east. A small movement could mean a lot. That's why we evacuate. Do not wait. You don't have that much time left to evacuate. And think about it. The longer you wait to evacuate, other people are going to wait, and that's when our highways are going to get clogged. That's when our gas stations are going to probably have problems with priority. The impacts to Hurricane Matthew could include up to 12 inches along the East Coast. And if you look at prior storms, we get bands sometimes that drop even more than that. And when you have that much rain, what do you get? You get flash flooding, strong currents, beach erosion, the risk of tornadoes, hurricane force winds, storm surge. Think about this, 9 feet of storm. And on top of that, we have waves on top of the storm surge. So 9 feet. That's over our heads. Do not surf. Go on the beach. No one should be on our beach. The Florida-Georgia line will have winds exceeding 100 miles per hour. As of now, Volusia and Brevard will have the highest winds now, but these things change. Inland counties like Seminole and also have hurricane force winds. And remember, these are all projections subject to change. The chest for the best, and no one should take it. Yesterday, I asked him for additional fuel, water, and tarps. This afternoon, I'm also asking the President for additional generators and pumps to help with power outages and flooding once the storm hits. We're going to have power outages. We're going to have a lot of power outages. And it's not going to come back on in one day. We expect to have a lot of flooding, especially here in Northeast Florida. And we will need additional pumping equipment from the federal government. Now let's go back to evacuations. There's a lot of people that have never been through this are still waiting to evacuate. There is no reason, if you're in an evacuation zone, if you're in a barrier island, if you know you're prone to flooding, if you're in an evacuation zone, get out now. Based on the continued strong track to Florida, I've activated 3,500 members of our National Guard. That's over half available troops have been activated. That's how serious this is. Remains our number, and that is why I've continued to activate more troops for important life-saving missions. Stop and think about it. We should not be putting people's lives at risk because you made the foolish decision not to evacuate. I've directed the National Guard to focus on pre-position resources, assist with helping people evacuate safely, and shelter operations. In the immediate aftermath, involved in recovery efforts, including search and rescue missions. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission also has high water vehicles positioned across the state to help with these efforts. around 1.5 million people are under evacuation orders. 1.5 million people mandated to evacuate right now. Please check with your local government, your mayors, your sheriffs, or your local news if you're unsure. Last night I suspended all tolls in the affected areas of the state. This includes the entire Florida Turnpike, Alligator Alley, Central Florida Expressway Authority, and the Miami-Dade Expressway Authority. There is no reason not to evacuate based on worrying about whether you're going to have to pay a toll or whether there's going to be a problem with the evacuations. We're going to do everything we can to keep these roads clear. If you're on the East Coast, you're going to lose power. Millions are going to lose power. Utilities companies are going to do all they can to turn power on, and I've been talking to them, but you're going to lose power. Go inland to a friend's house, go to a shelter and accommodation. Partners like Airbnb are making rooms available. You can go to Visit Florida, Expedia for listings of open hotels. Hotels are filled quickly all over the state. As the storm approaches, you need to go to a shelter. Your safety, not comfort, is the most important thing. The shelter might not be the most desirable to be, but is safer than many homes. If you live on the West Coast, call friends on the impacted areas and offer them a place to stay. More than 3,000 people are already in shelters across Florida. As of last night, there were 58 shelters open. Today, there are more than 80 have been opened, and the number will continue to increase, and will continue to increase as they're needed. I know you don't want to sit in a shelter, nobody does, but it might be the safest place. It might be the difference in death. I-10 westbound out of Jacksonville is experiencing congestion, but continues to move. And DOT employing extra road rangers and wrecker crews, DOT and Highway Safety are working westbound routes, including US 90 and State Road 228. But we're going to do everything we can to make sure any bottlenecks get cleared up as quickly as possible. We have called in extra people from Highway Safety. They will be out there, more road rangers and DOT, and we're monitoring all the evacuation routes. Every one of them is being monitored right now. As of now, all flights have been canceled from Orlando Sanford International Airport and Fort Lauderdale Hollywood Airport. Flights will be canceled at 8 p.m. to Orlando International Airport. If you're concerned about safe routes, please visit f511.51.com. You can see traffic patterns and accidents. Anything you need to pick the best route, you can find on fl511.com. No excuses. Get out. Floridians and visitors can go to floridaevacuates.com or download the Florida Evacuates app or their location and see shelters available in their area. I have directed the Department of Transportation to send fuel resources to the gas stations on Alligator Alley. They report issues there. We're going to start seeing fuel shortages at a specific gas station, but we have plenty of fuel in the state right now, and we'll get fan. So on the Alligator Alley issue, but individual gas stations are going to start having shortages, and we'll do everything we can to get them fuel. The current fuel supply in the state will last for 8 days, assuming every port's closed. So we have 8 days of fuel. If you're going to get fuel, take what you need. Don't fill up if you don't need to. Just take what you need to leave some for the next one, just to make sure everybody has the fuel they need. Our hospitals along the East Coast are evacuating. Today, we've not reported any issues with those, but we're evacuating hospitals. You can text FL Prepares, one word, FL Prepares, to 888-777, updates from the State Emergency Response Team. FL Prepares, 888-777. Information. If you know somebody making a bad decision, call them. Don't let somebody pester them. Do everything you can. Be a pain in the rear. If you know anybody that's making a bad decision, if you have a family member, if you have a friend, them to get out and evacuate. Remember, saving every life in this state is our #1 priority. To the press, you've done a great job alerting people and keeping people informed. Anything more you can do, if you have any ideas, any more we can do to make sure people get informed, just know. But the press has done a great job. The next briefing from the National Hurricane Center is going to be this afternoon at 5:15. After this, I'll be heading back to the State Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee, and I'll spend the night there, and then we'll decide in the morning, because as you know, this is going to start hitting a little bit later tonight in the south part of the state, and just slowly move up here. And when we have a slow-moving storm, we're going to get rain. We're going to get a lot of rain. We're going to get flooding. We're going to have storm surge, and we're going to have a ridiculous, unbelievable amount. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has.
Governor, you mentioned that the National Guard is assisting people with evacuating. Where are they located, and where does it seem in the state like people need the most help evacuating?
Well, we've got National Guard in 3 locations, north, central, and south. And so we've done things with our National Guard. We've pre-positioned food and water. We've pre-positioned high water vehicles. We've pre-positioned people from Fish and Wildlife. So so they can get to, like, if Sheriff Shore called and needed something quickly, we were able to get support quickly. We've done state. On top of that, I have somebody for all the East Coast counties. I have somebody from my office. They'll be coming over here tomorrow, and they'll be staying here through the restoration efforts. So if there's an issue, we can get them resolved quickly. We have National Guard. This is General Calhoun, the state's adjutant general, and he'll be able to get resources quickly around the state. So where are my concerns? I was in earlier today. I was in Martin County, and they think that probably people are not taking this seriously enough. I think in Martin County they said they've asked 17,000 people to evacuate. I was talking to Mayor Curry a little while ago. They increased their evacuation efforts, and Mayor Curry, he was down on his, he didn't say, I don't think he was on the beaches, down in the beach communities, and there's still people down there. So I think we have people that are not taking this seriously enough. I think if you just stop and look at this for a second, over 100 people have died in Haiti already. So we don't know what the numbers out of the Bahamas are yet, but over 100 people have already lost their lives, and we're going to have 140 to 150 mile an hour winds all along this coast. So I think what's going to happen is people start seeing what happened. It looks like the first really bad area is going to be the Palm Beach area, and I think as you watch the news, you're going to people wanting to evacuate. So my biggest are people taking this seriously enough. So I don't want to lose a life.